Hey, this is René. Welcome back to another video. And today I will work on the daily grid trading expert advisor again. And this is finally the part where we add the position opening. So this is from often when you write expert advisors, this is like the most interesting part, because once you set up like the position opening, you are able to make back tests and see what your strategy does, how it performs. So what we're going to do is, we have this code already where we calculate or where we define like the trend direction using a moving average. And then we calculate all of these values, the pivot point for the current day with the data of the previous day and the support and resistance levels. If you do not have this code already, go back and watch the previous two videos. I will put everything in a playlist, so you should be able to watch everything in the right order, and then you can just follow along. So we have these levels now, and now we want to open trades. And I want to open trades whenever the day changes. So once there is a new day, I want to set up new trades. So what I like to do is to figure out if there's a new day, to just check the amount of bars in the daily chart. So I will create this integer variable. This is a global variable because it is outside of any function, and it is named bars total. In the onInit function, I will initialize it with the return value of this ibars function. And what this function does is, it is a really easy function. It just returns the number of bars in a specified chart pretty much. So we have to specify the symbol and the period. And for example, here we choose the chart symbol and the D1 daily period. And now we would have, for example, let's say we have, 5,000 bars. So this function would just return 5,000, and this value is then stored in this bars total variable. And what we can do now is we can go ahead and say we want to do the same calculation here in the onTick function. So we say ibars period D1, and we store the return value of this function in a variable. Do not make the mistake and think that this bars variable is the same as this bars total variable, because this bars total variable is a global variable and this bars variable is a local variable because it is declared in this onTick function's body. So a local variable, it only stays alive until the function is terminated. So at the end of the onTick function, this bars variable will be deleted from the memory of your PC. It will simply forget about this variable. And the difference, if you compare it to a global variable, this global variable, it will stay alive for the whole runtime of your program. So this variable is declared, it is declared when you activate the program for the first time, and it will stay at the exact same spot in the memory of your PC, or at least it will have a spot in the memory of your PC until the program is deleted or removed from the chart. So this variable has a longer lifetime than the bars variable, which means that whenever the onTick function is finished, this variable is deleted, but the value in this variable will stay the same. And this is why we can check if bars total is not equal bars, because this means pretty much that there was a new bar in this chart, because now the ibars function returns a higher value than it did before, right? So now we can update this bars total variable with the value which is now stored in this bars variable, which will mean that we only execute whatever is written inside of this if statement once per day. So I think I explained if statements already. So we just check a condition, and this exclamation mark equal sign combination, it means that this is not equal this. So if these two variables hold different values, then we go inside of the body of this if statement and we update the bars total variable. Plus we do all of this pretty much. So we just cut it here like the complete code that we have written in our onTick function before, and we paste it in the body of this if statement. Also, make sure to move it to the right a little bit. Use your tabulator button on the keyboard so everything is aligned with like this statement here. So you always know that everything here is inside of the body of this if statement. So until now, we just managed that everything inside of this if statement's body is only executed once per bar, and only if there's a new day. So if there's a new day, we calculate the moving average trend, and then we do everything to calculate like these levels. And now we want to open positions. So whenever we open position, the easiest way is to use the ctrade class. So to do so, we can include a file, and this file is the trade.mqh file, and you include files by using this hashtag include mechanism here, and then in these spiky brackets, or this is a smaller sign, this is a greater sign, you write trade/trade.mqh, because this is a path to a file, and the path of this this path starts in the include folder. This is a default in mql5. So we start in this include folder. You will find it in your navigator on the left side. If you do not see it, click on view navigator. So you can click on include and then trade and trade.mqh. So this is just a path to a file. And this is the file that we include. This is a class definition pretty much. So we will find the ctrade class here, and we can now use this ctrade class in our program because we included it. I do not explain the whole ctrade class. For now, it's just important that we can use this class to open positions. So what we can do here is we can create another variable which is of type ctrade, because it is an object variable of this class pretty much. So just write ctrade and define any name for this variable. This is just like declaring any variable. You have a data type, which is in this case a class, but after all, we can use like the same logic to define a variable here, and then you have a name for the variable. And this trade is a so-called object variable. So we can use it, but it is an object. So this is object-oriented programming. I will not cover this in this video, but if you're interested, check out the link below this video and you will find a website where you can find a complete class where I also explain things like this in more detail. But for now, we can use this trade object variable to open positions or place orders. So you can see if I write trade, which is the name of this variable, and now it already suggests me a lot of functions. For example, the buy function. So I could place a buy order to open a buy market position. But in this case, I want to place pending orders. So what we do here is, first of all, we check if the MA trend is greater than 0 or if the MA trend is smaller than 0. So we want to know if we buy or if we sell, right? So if the MA trend is greater than 0, we assume that there is a buy trend. So we want to place positions or orders, right? So what we do here now is we take all of these levels pretty much and want to place orders. But like the problem is, if we have a look at the chart, you can see yeah, let me remove this for now for demonstration purposes. So you can see here, right now the price is at this level. So we have 4 lines, like the pivot point, the R1, R2, and R3. These levels are above the current price. And then we have the support levels, which are below the current price. So we cannot say that we want to like place buy or sell limit orders for all of them, because sell limit orders can only be placed above the current price. So we would have to use sell limits for these 4 levels and sell stops if we want to for these levels. So what we do here is we say, first of all, as a parameter, we could say something like we can say stops, and this is a Boolean variable, stops and limits like this, which is also a Boolean variable. So we want the user to be able to say if he wants to trade with stop orders and limit orders or only one of these. So what we can do now is we can write a function which will be, first of all, we write a function which is named execute by, for example, and then we write another function later on which is execute sell. So make sure to place these functions below the body of this onTick function. So the onTick function is here, it ends here in line 70, and below this onTick function I write 2 new functions. They will return a unsigned long value, which is, if you look in the documentation here, unsigned long is just a really big number. So it can store values from 0 to 18 billion, trillion, I don't know, whatever. So really big numbers. And unsigned long data types or values are used for position and order tickets. So this is why we want to return a unsigned long value. And if we execute a buy position, we also want to have a parameter which is the price, and also for the execute sell position. So what we do here is we know, first of all, let's make it really easy. We check if so buy positions are opened at the ask price, right? So we have to get the ask price for this symbol, for the chart symbol first, and we do this by writing symbol info double, symbol, comma, symbol ask, because this is a function which can give us information about a specific symbol, and the information that we want is defined in the second parameter, which can be any identifier of this enumeration. So for example, we can get the bid price or the ask price using the symbol info double function. And now we can check if ask is above the price, because in this case we cannot open a buy stop, we can only open a buy limit position or order. So what we do here is we say or first of all, we should make sure that this price is, that we round the value. So sometimes in computer programming, there can be some unexpected number or number at some digit after the decimal point. So you might see something like this. This is a common problem. I don't know if it's really a problem, but this can happen in programming. So by using the normalized double function, this should take care of this, because this will cut the digits after the decimal point at a specified precision. And the precision that we want to use here is the underscore digits value, because underscore digits will always have the number of digits after a decimal point for the current chart symbol. So in this case, for the euro US dollar, it would be 5. So we cut every digit after the 5th digit after the decimal point. So we check if ask is above the current price, because in this case we said that we can only open a buy limit. So we want to say trade by limit. This is a function that we can use by using our trade object variable. So just write the name of your object variable and then this point operator, and then you can write by limit. And you can see there are a lot of parameters for this function. So we can say how many lots we want to open here. And I like to make this a input variable. So we can say lots, it's maybe 0.1. right? So we have 0.1 lots to open here, and we can now use this variable in our execute by function. So we say by limit, we open lots, and then we have to give this by limit function a price where we want to set this order. This is of course the value in this price variable that is delivered to the execute by function by this function parameter here. Then we have a symbol, which is of course the current chart symbol that we can get by using underscore symbol. And then we have a SL, ATP. I do not want to place anything here for now. And then we have to define how long this order should stay alive. And we can say order, we can say it shall stay alive for the day, or we can specify a time, how long it should stay alive. But for now, let's say order time day. And then we can have a expiration time. I think this is only needed if we choose order time specified here. So if we choose day, we can say 0, and then we have a comment. And here we could have another function parameter, which is the comment. So we will use this later on, and I will explain it then. So if we write everything like this, this is working. The only problem here is that we do not return a value. And yeah, so we say if so what we can do here is we can check if trade result order is greater than 0, because this pretty much means that we opened or that we placed an order. And in this case, we return trade result order. Or I mean, we do not even have to check this. We can return trade result order in any case. So this is working. And there's also the case that the ask price is below the order open price. In this case, we want to place a buy stop, right? So we say lots price symbol 00 for TP and SL. We want to cancel the order at the end of the day, and we want to use this like comment here. And there's one more thing that we want to do, because we want to check before we send the buy limit if limits are allowed by the user in the settings. And same for the stops, of course. Okay, now we did everything for the execute by function, and I will now copy this code, and I think I cut it. So I will copy this code and paste it also in the body of this execute sell function. Now I just have to change some things. Since sell positions are always open at the bid price, I want to work with the bid price here. And this can stay the same because I have to round like this price. Then we want to check if the bid is above the price. And in this case, we have to, if bid is above the price. I think I made a mistake here, right? Yeah. No, it's it's correct. If the bid price is above the price for the order, then it should be a sell stop, right? Yeah. If stops, and here we have to write if limits are allowed, we want to place like the sell limit. The rest can stay the same for now, and we compile this. Okay, so now we have a problem because there is a problem with some brackets. Okay, now it's fixed, and there's still a problem. Comment. Oh, I forgot to define this function parameter here for the execute cell. And there's another problem. Yes, I have to check if the bid is smaller than the price. Okay, this was a lot of fixing, but you can just copy this function now from here. So now we define this execute by and execute cell function. You might ask yourself why we do this. We do this because now we can check if the moving average trend is positive, so if we have a by trend, because in this case we want to use the execute by function, and if there's a sell trend, we want to use the execute sell function, right? So we can say if, or we can just call the execute by function several times. We can just say execute by, and we want to buy at the pivot point, and as a comment we can say pp, like this. Then we call the execute by for the S1 level, and we say S1 like this, and we do the same for all of these levels now, right? So we can just copy this sometimes, S2, then we have S3, S3 like this, then we have R1. And the good thing is, since we set everything up like this, the execute by function will know if it has to place a by stop or a by limit function. Because, yeah, we defined everything like this pretty much. Yeah, we will just do it like this for now. Here we have to use the execute sell function, of course, if we have a negative trend. Okay, so first of all, before we do anything else, let us test this in a test run. So go to the MetaTrader 5, open the strategy tester. You can find it if you click on View Strategy Tester. And I think I can close the toolbox here. And now you can click on Visualize. Then you select the program you want to test. In this case, of course, it's the daily grid trading. Then you choose a symbol. Yeah, you can choose any symbol from this list. I will go with Euro-US-Dollar first. And then you can choose a period and a time frame. So I will choose, for this system, it doesn't really matter what time frame we choose because it depends more on the settings here. We can say the moving average shall be calculated in the chart time frame, which is the current time frame, and we use we use stops and limits, and then we use the 200 periods simple moving average, which calculates on the close price of candles. So once you set up everything, just click on Start, and this should open another window where it then simulates this program with historical data that is stored in your MetaTrader 5. So you can see, we now get like the trend, and you can also see the program tries to open positions. But there's a problem because whenever we want to open a position at the start of a new day, it doesn't work because it says the market is closed. And this is a problem which appears here because we try to trade directly after the day changed. And this is a time where some brokers do not allow trading. So we have to take care of this. We can do something like, let's say we have a starting time. So we create another input variable, and the easiest way to work with times in MetaTrader 5 is using a string input. So we can say time start. It doesn't really matter how I name this variable, and we can say 0:30. This will be our start time, and yeah, this is okay for now. So we have the start time as a string input. And what we can do now is, before we do all of this pretty much, so before we check if there's a new bar in the daily chart, we also want to check if the time has passed this specific point in time. I just added this semicolon. So what we have to do here is we have to work with a datetime value. So we can say time start, and now we can use the string to time function. This is a function which is already predefined in the mql5 framework. And if you have a look at the reference, you can see that you can add any string date or date and time string which has any of these formats here. and we just used like the time, and we did not use the year, the month, and the date. And this will also work, and it will work with the current day in this case. So we can just say we want our time start string input variable and turn it into a datetime variable. Because in this case, we can add another condition here for our if statement, and we want to check if the time current is greater than the time start. Because this means that we are already after this point in time. And time current is another function which returns the current server time. So if we run the program again, we should now try to open the positions at 30 minutes after midnight. So at the start of a new day. So let's try to make this happen. So whoopsala, this was a little bit fast. So we can, yeah, let's run the test again. So let me run it a little bit slower so we can see what happens at the first day. So I will just wait until everything is loaded. So yeah, this directly in the beginning, this will open the first positions at 0:30, as you can see here in the journal, and also here in the trade window. You can say 0:30, you can see it here. Sell stops and sell limits are placed. And you can see for the levels that are above the current price, the program chooses the sell limits. And for the levels below the current price, it chooses the sell stops. And yeah, now we can just see if any of these levels are executed. And I think, yeah, some will probably become executed. Let me speed it up a little bit. Yeah, you can see like this sell order was triggered. And for the next day, we already saw new orders, and some of them were also triggered. So we will have to take care of some more things. So we should make sure that all the positions are closed when the day is over. So you can see the orders are deleted, right? Automatically, because I think we will find it in the history. Orders, no, we do not find it in the history. Are they deleted? Yeah, they are deleted. They are expired. I think we should see it somewhere. Yeah, you can see the orders expired. But it is expired after 30 minutes already. Yes, let us do something else here. We will define a point of time, another point of time here. We say time end. For every day, we want to cancel the orders and close open positions. We can say something like 18 o'clock, doesn't really matter. This is a input variable, so the user will be able to change this. And what we want to do now is, first of all, for our execute by and execute sell function, we want to say datetime expiration, and then we say string to time, and we choose our time end input variable here. So this for the execute by. And now for this by limit function, we say order time specified, and as the next parameter, we add our expiration variable from here. And we do the same thing here, and then also for the execute sell function. So also for the execute sell, we will calculate this expiration value, and then we say order time specified, and we want to specify it for this expiration variable value. So we also add it here for the execute sell. So this is for the order. So they should be deleted at the time that we specified in the inputs. So if we run the test again, you can see the inputs, they are here, everything is working. We should place positions at 0:30 and close or delete orders at 18 o'clock in the afternoon pretty much. So, whoa, let's wait here. So we have to take a look at the journal. So some orders are executed, and at 18 o'clock, some orders expired. So this seems to work, but still we have the problem that the positions are never closed. And we should take care of this. So we can go to our onTick function here. This is the onTick function, and here at the very beginning we say time end, or we calculate this time end here. So we say string to time end. Oh, and make sure to understand this is another variable than this. This is the input variable because it has a capital letter T in the beginning, which is written like this here, or this. And this has a small letter in the beginning. So these are completely different variables for the PC. There's absolutely no connection. And this is a datetime variable. So we can check if time current is greater than the time end, or greater equal. And in this case, we want to close open positions, right? So whenever you want to close open positions, or all the open positions, you can use a loop for this. Yeah, I will explain this loop in this video and then we will end. So we might have we might have multiple positions. So let me run the test again. So we might have multiple positions at the end of a day, and we might have to close multiple positions. So this is why we have to use a loop, because you can see here, for example, now we see 5 positions. So if we want to close these 5 positions, we will have to use a loop. And this is typically a for loop, which is designed like this. I will write this for a second and then explain it real quick. So this is a for loop, and a for loop, it always starts with this for word, and then in round brackets you have 3 parts pretty much. So the first part before the first semicolon here, it is usually the declaration and initialization of a variable. Typically in programming you will name this variable I because it's like the iteration variable. I don't know. This is just programming, a common programming rule, if you want to say so. So you declare a integer variable with the name I, and it has the value, or it will hold the value of this position total function -1. Position total just returns the number of open positions. So in this case here, positions total would return 5. So we say 5 minus 1, so we store 4 in this I variable. This variable is only alive for this for loop. So once we are done with the loop, this I variable will be deleted. Then, after the first semicolon, we have the main condition of this for loop. So this piece of code, it is only executed once when the program reaches line 41 and sees that there is a for loop. Then the for loop is initialized and this will be executed. Afterwards, this main condition will be checked. So we check if I is greater or equal 0, and since I is 4, this is true. So after checking the main condition, we will then go to the body, curly brackets as always, of this for loop. And here we can say, for example, let's say something like print I. And after we executed the body, we will go here, because this is the piece of code which is executed after every run of the loop, or every execution of the body. So here we will subtract I by 1, or we will subtract 1 from this I value. So this is the same as this. This is just a shorter form of writing I is equal to I minus 1, because we will just subtract 1 from this value. So after we printed 4, because this was our first value here, we will then subtract 1 from this value. So I will be then 3. And then it will be checked again if 3 is greater or equal 0, which is true. So we execute again, we print 3. we subtract it by 1. We have 2, which is also greater than 0, which is true, so we print 2. We subtract it by 1. 1 is still greater than 0, we print 1. We subtract it by 1, 0. 0 is greater or equal to 0, still true, so we print 0. Then we subtract it by 1. I is now minus 1, so we will not execute the for loop again, and then the for loop is finished. So what we want to do in this for loop is we want to say that we want to get the position tickets of all the open positions. And as I explained before, position tickets have the type unsigned long in mql5 or mql5 programming. So we can say position ticket is equal to position get ticket. And this is a function which is part of the mql5 framework, and it will give us the position ticket by a position index. So we can say I is the position index because we will have the values 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0 in this I variable. And these are exactly the indices, I don't know how you pronounce it, of the positions. So as you can see, there are 5 positions. So this will be position index 0, this will be 1, 2, 3, 4. And since I printed in this for loop, we can have a look at this. So if I compile the program and if I want to run it again, you will see that after the end or the time end for the day, we will then print all the position tickets here. So let's have a look at this. Let's give it a quick run. So as you can see here, we have several open positions. We just have to wait until we reach the time. Oh, we already reached the time, I think. And it says 0 is 2. Oh, no, the program was not there yet. So yeah, now you can see, since we reached like this time end that we have as a input variable here, we are now after 18 o'clock, we will print the values here in the journal. So you can see with every single tick, we will print all the position tickets. So you can see at index 0, there should be position ticket 15, which is not the case. So I think I lied to you. So this is index 0, this is index 1, this is index 2, 3, 4. But you can see this is working, and we now print all the position tickets. And this is great because we can now use this to close the positions. We can use the trade position close function, trade again, taken from our trade variable here. So we say position close, and this position close function is part of the ctrade class, so we can use it by using this point operator. So we can say position close, and then we can write position ticket like this. And since the position close function returns a Boolean value, which is either true or false, we can then use this operation as a complete condition. So if we were able to close the position, we can have a print statement which might say something like position number, position ticket was closed at the end of the day, blah, 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 like this. So if we compile this and if we run the program again, we will see that this is pretty much a completely automated program already. But of course, we can still add a lot of things like TP, SL, and much more stuff. But I will need your recommendations for the next programming video below this video. Okay, so for the first day, we can see price is below the moving average. We have a sell day. We place sell limits and sell stops. Let's see if some of these trades are executed. And I think some of these will be executed. Let me speed this up a little bit. So yeah, you can see some orders were executed, and for the next day also it already executed 2 orders, and you can see the orders from the previous day are already closed. And here we executed even more orders on the next day, and all of these orders are closed here always at 18 o'clock, and you can also see it in the history. They are closed at 18 o'clock, and you can read about it in the journal because we say position whatever was closed at the end of the day. So you can see this program is working pretty much completely automated. And what we have to do now is we have to check if this is even working. So what you can do now is you can already run tests with this because this will give you like a graph and everything, and you can check if this is already a profitable system. It could be. So just run any backtest you like. You can run this for like the complete backtest time, and you can then see the performance here. And you can also see like backtest results, key figures, if you run the complete backtest. So work with the strategy tester here. And this is what I wanted to show in this tutorial. So what we did today is we added some more input variables. And again, these are the variables that the user can define. So we can say we want to trade stops, we want to trade limits, we want to change the lot size, we want to open at a specific time, we want to close at a specific times. These are input variables. Then, before this, we included a file that we then used to create this ctrade object variable. Also, we used this bars total variable here to make sure that everything is only executed once per day. Yes. Then, in the onTick function, what we did in the end, we take care of closing all the open positions at the end of the day. Therefore, we check if the time has passed this point in time, which the user defined as a string input. And in this case, we use a loop to close all the open positions. Then we check if there's a new daily bar and if the time is greater than the start time. In this case, we update the bars total variable, so we make sure that this piece of code is only executed once per daily bar, once per day, and not multiple times. So we only get the orders once. Then we calculate the moving average trend. We did this not today, but before. We calculate all the pivot points and resistance and support levels. We did this in the last video. And then in this video, we checked if the moving average trend was positive or negative. And then we executed positions for all of these 7 levels using the execute by or execute sell function. And these functions were written in today's video. So we did this below the onTick function. These functions have 2 parameters, the price for the limit or stop order and a comment. So we know what level we traded. And we calculate the ask price for the buy positions and the bid price for the sell orders, and then we rounded the price, which was the parameter here, and then we have the expiration time calculated from the string input. Then we check if the ask price is above the price for the order, because in this case we want to place a buy limit order, and we use the buy limit function of the ctrade class for this, which we can access using this trade object variable. We have a list of parameters. I will not go into detail here, but you can read it here in this little preview. We open an order pretty much. We have a expiration time and a comment. And then we return the order ticket of the order that we just sent. We didn't even use the return value, so we could say void also. This wouldn't really make a difference. But yeah, I like to return the order when I open positions. And the execute sell function is pretty much completely the same. So this is what we did in this video. I hope you were able to follow along, and I hope that you also have this pretty much working expert advisor already on your PC now. So I hope that you are able to make backtests, and with these backtests you might be able to guess what will be a good addition for this program. So let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Should I add a TP or a SL, and how should I calculate them? And do you have any other ideas? So let me know in the comments. And again, if you want to learn more about mql5 programming, like really in-depth knowledge and where I explain everything in detail, not like on YouTube where I go over everything like a little bit faster, you should check out the link below this video and you will find a complete course which is also suitable for complete programming beginners. So after all, thanks for watching. I hope you will have great trades until we see each other next time in the next video. Until then, have a great time. Bye bye.